Franklin, he has produced movies, been a movie studio exec. He's also a pastor. We got a chance to catch up at our Broadcast Central location, the Roosevelt Hotel in New Orleans, where the Coca-Cola family, where they were headquartered. It's a great conversation. Hope you absolutely enjoy it, learn something from it, including we talk about preaching and how we prepare for sermons. My conversation with preacher, author, exec, DeVon Franklin. All right, DeVon, so we're here at Essence Fest, and this is, so first of all, how many have you been to before?
Oh, man, probably 4 to 5. This might be my 5th one.
Okay.
Over the course of about 10 years.
Okay, got it. And so what do you find to be most unique, interesting about coming here?
You know, it brings together so many people of different walks of life. I mean, you know, from politics to religion to entertainment, to social work to education. I mean, literally, like all of these different avenues of Black life converge on the conference. And so it's always fascinating to come across different people who have a totally different experience than I may have professionally, but we have the same shared experience because of our background.
Now, how often do you either walk the convention floor or walk through the Superdome?
You know what? I did both during this trip. So I went to the Superdome last night, and it was cool because it's Black folks. I mean, nothing but love, right?
Right.
Nothing but love. Like, hey, how you doing? I mean, nobody giving you mean mugs, nothing. Everybody was just like happy to be there.
See, I try to tell the celebrities at the Superdome, leave a section.
Yeah, and go get the people.
And literally So I literally at least twice a night, I like to go all the way to the back. Sometimes I'll actually go up to another level.
Yeah.
And just for the sole purpose of the experience. And also, it is and for all y'all religious people out there, don't freak out. I'm not comparing myself to Jesus right now, but I always say this, that the beauty of the story of the woman with the blood problem is not that she was healed, but that Jesus was accessible for her to touch the hem of his garment.
That's true. I love that.
And so the thing for me is
Bishop Martin.
People got to be accessible.
Yes.
And so if they never get to speak to you, how you doing, I love you, touch you, you're distant. And that's why I do that. I mean, I walk the convention floor every time, and we might have to take selfies for 45 minutes or an hour, but they get to touch you and see you.
Yeah. I did the convention floor today, and same kind of thing, you know. And also, you get a chance to see what the real experience is. Right. Because if let's say I just came and spoke and left, I get a part of it, but I don't get the whole experience. But to be there on the convention floor and to see all the different booths and Black business and different people, I mean, it was a great experience.
See, I always describe, when I talk about it, as ultimate Black love. Because you're right. I mean, you're going to run into folk from all walks of life. Yeah. You're going to run into CEOs. You're going to run into doctors, lawyers, street pharmacists. You're going to run into everybody. And folk got stories and first time they met you. Like one woman, I think she was like, we've gotten selfies like 8 years in a row, and like straight up. And so, but again though, to me, that's what's so amazing when you get to actually flow and have that kind of experience.
Absolutely, without a doubt. I mean, I think it makes the experience, and then also lets people know that we're thankful. A lot of us have our livelihood because people support it, vis-a-vis entertainment. And so to be accessible and to let them know that they're appreciated, it really matters.
So Will Packer, my frat, Malcolm Lee, they did Girls Trip. So since you're a Hollywood producer and you like to do stuff that's also faith-based, what would be a faith-based movie at Essence Fest?
Oh, wow.
Let's see what you got.
Oh, man. Well, it would probably involve a Sunday, and the gospel experience. And I'd have to think about the rest. But, that would be my instinct, is that, there's either a church group or a women's ministry group. And the whole point is to get to Essence, and that there's some hijinks that ensue. and maybe some unholy, some things that happened before, but on Sunday there's redemption for them before they get back on the plane and go home. Yeah.
See, y'all always got to get to on Sunday. See, I always tell people, you can always tell the difference between, for me, good preachers and bad preachers.
Okay, what's the difference?
So my wife would take, because I take copious notes, sermon notes. And so she look over and it's like 3 lines and all it is the date, the church, the pastor, the script, the sermon, the scripture, and the sermon title. That's it. She know I ain't feeling them.
Right.
And bad preachers always. So I'm gonna ask you first. What is the guaranteed shout of a bad preacher?
The guaranteed.
It's the guaranteed. No matter how awful the sermon is, it is the guaranteed shout. This is the hallmark of a awful preacher. An awful preacher. Preacher will rely on this, no matter what. What is it?
Oh wow! God is good all the time.
Mm-mm.
No.
Nope.
Nope. What's the guarantee?
Awful sermon. They know it's horrible. They know
Yeah.
it. Then they will get to that point. But one day on Friday. See,
yes. God, Jesus died on the cross.
But
But early Sunday morning.
Okay, how awful it is.
He rose from the grave.
As this one particular preacher, and I'm sitting, my wife, I'm like, here it come. Friday. Automatic. Folk gonna stand up and shout.
Yep.
And I'm sitting there and I'm like,
You like, oh.
I turned around and said, they know this sermon horrible. They know he can't preach.
That's a good point. I never thought about that.
Every time.
But early Sunday
I've heard
morning.
more than a dozen sermons from the same preacher. And I sit there and I'll be like, wait till Friday. and when it hit, she just hit it. She did the whole mind. She looked at me like, I said, it's coming.
Wow.
That's I don't care how bad it is.
That's funny.
If you with black people,
that's true.
If you give it a speech and it sucks, go ahead and hit Friday.
Go ahead.
And Jesus rose.
You good. You good. Everybody gonna holler and shout, we out.
Now give me a time where you spoke or you were doing something and the room was not feeling you. And what did you do? What did you have to do?
Oh, one time I spoke at this leadership conference, and it was mixed race, but predominantly white, and they were just completely not accustomed to the energy that I was bringing at all, and I just stayed at that level. I just kept going. You know what I mean? I was like, wait, this is me, so. I'm just going to do me. I'm not going to, rely too much on your reaction.
Right.
And then afterwards, a lot of people that I didn't know if they were feeling it, they came up and said, oh, my goodness, that was amazing. You're like one of the best speakers we've had. But I really just had to stay the course because when you're used to that response, it really fuels you as a speaker. So at first when I didn't get it, I got a little timid and I got a little fearful. But I said, you know what? I'm just going to do me. And that's what I did.
That's why when I walk in, I absolutely feel the room. First of all, I don't even write speeches, so I don't even waste my time writing speeches.
Oh, wow.
So I let the room speak.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah, I don't even.
So how does that work? So when you get up and then you just go?
Yeah.
Wow.
I'll sit there. Now, I might have a concept.
Yeah.
And then something may happen in between the person introducing me and something else may spark. Then I'll change it on the fly. So I'll sit there. So yeah, I was in Florida somewhere. This woman was like, oh my God, we would love to run your speech in our black newspaper. I said, y'all gonna transcribe it?
Right.
She's like, what do you mean? I said, baby, ain't no notes. She said, what with speech? I was like, no. She said, in this card? I said, in this card. I said, y'all gotta transcribe that sucker.
Wow.
So no, so it's like, literally it's just like, fill the rooms. So that point there, you could always tell just in that room where people are, and then that sort of allows me to calibrate how I'm going to actually I'm going to talk to the room.
I love that.
So
that's a gift. That's not easy to do.
Oh yeah. Well, my wife, so because she's ordained, she got a paper. She went to seminary. Right. So when she gives a sermon, she goes like into a cocoon. I mean, she got like books all around her.
Yeah.
And one day I walked in, I'm like, "What you doing?" She's like, oh,
We're
I'm
gonna
ready for this sermon. I was like, when? She's like, oh, it's in 3 weeks.
Gotta take time to break down that word
like, 3
and
weeks.
exegete that text. Yeah.
I said 3 weeks. All that for 3. So we was in Chicago, and the church, they had me do 3 services. So we drive, and then she's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, I don't know. We're in the car. I'm like, I don't know. And so then we go into the church. I'm sitting in the pulpit. Introduce me, choir singing. Next voice you hear. And so she texts me, you decided? Nope. And I literally grabbed the Bible.
That is so stressful.
I literally grabbed the Bible. Scripture, took half of it, came up with the title, closed it, and then went up.
No, you did.
So I did. And so then you ask her.
And did you end up with on Friday night?
No, I ain't do that. I've never done that. And so when the church is over, she was like, so you just gonna sit there and just do that? I was like, don't hate the gift.
Don't hate the gift.
I can't stand you.
Right.
I said, don't hate the gift.
No, my
I said, you can't be a preacher hate the gift.
Wow. I mean, that's stressful. That's stressful.
I don't even.
For I need to anytime I'm speaking, doesn't matter what it is, I've got to do an outline and have a framework. And then of course, there's moments for, being extemporaneous, but for most part, I like to know here's the gist.
Even if they give me the theme, I probably won't use it. I'll go. It'll take me somewhere else.
Right.
Take me somewhere else. So literally, it's just like I'll sit there and let the room speak to me.
Wow, man. Well, it hasn't failed you yet. Huh?
No, I like it works. It works. So you just roll with it. What's that dream project? What's that thing you really want to do that you have not done?
The project I've been working on probably the longest at this point is Kirk Franklin's biopic. I'm producing that, and and
that's a story.
It's a story. It's a great story, and I've been working on that.
Not the one now. How he got?
Yeah, how he got there. Yes, absolutely. So I've been working on that, man, like 8 years.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's the one that at the moment I'm just really, really passionate about getting it over the hump. And we have a new script, and still making some tweaks here and there, but that's the one.
Well, who are you gonna find that short to play him?
You ain't right, but see, because Kirk makes jokes about his own height, like he would laugh at that.
Come on. We all know Chevy Baby Gap.
We went to find. That's right. That's what he said. That's exactly what he says. Went to find an unknown. We're going to do a whole nationwide, worldwide search to find who's going to play Kirk Franklin. Somebody who has that charisma, who's obviously height appropriate, and can also do the music. See,
the thing. What I love about, or what I often talk about, whether it's Kirk, whether it's Bishop Jakes, that I love dealing with people. People love to revel and talk about where they are now, but nobody wants to deal with Jakes when he was digging ditches. And my deal is you can't talk about the Jakes now unless you deal with that. Right. And I think that's also what's important about Kirk's story.
Absolutely. And very few people, just recently he performed in Memphis because he's on tour with Maverick City.
Yep.
And he talked about that 26 years ago in Memphis, he fell off the stage, went into a coma, almost died.
Yep. And
so a lot of people didn't even know that story.
Yep.
So the idea that there he is back on that same stage 26 years later, and look what God is doing.
Wow, that is awesome. Kirk is a good brother.
Yeah.
And he will bless you.
Yes.
Not the bless y'all thinking about. Kirk he's still black.
Yes, he is.
From the hood. So we were talking, I was like, okay, Kirk, when Jesus gonna show up?
No, Kirk's a real dude. He's a real dude,
As that video, you see the video at the BET Awards when he was talking to LaMel Plummer with Zeus? And they posted, they were like, oh, Kirk's an intense conversation with LaMel Plummer, and so he's holding his hand the whole time, and he's got the hand on the shoulder
of Lemmy. So he's doing. Oh, okay, got it.
So we all know what that move is.
Yeah.
And so I had to text him. I was like, yeah. I said, I bet you got. I said, well, I said, you have some holy oil laying hands. I had to mess with him on that one.
What did he say?
He sent me the prayer signal back. So he did that. So okay. So I asked you to play with Kirk. Okay, now I got one for you. Okay, so this is my final question for you. Who would you want to play you?
In the movie of my life, I'd have to go with my brother Trey Byers. Everybody say we look alike. Anyway, Trey played Andre on Empire.
I know that. How tall is Trey?
Okay, you know Trey. Okay, good. Yeah, so Trey. Yeah.
How tall is Trey?
He's maybe an inch taller, 2 inches
Really?
taller than me. Yeah. He's tall. He's 6'2", and I'm 6 feet.
Oh, see, I thought we were going to have like a reverse James Brown, Chadwick Boseman.
No. Trey's, yeah. So he'd be the one. That would be pretty cool.
All right. Next thing you got coming out that we need to be aware of, we need to be supporting.
Yeah, I got a new book out right now with Audible. It's called It Takes a Woman. It's an audio-only book. It's basically about the women in my family. It's like my memoir. I talk about how my father died and how I, was raised by my mother, my grandmother's 7 sisters, and how that
7 sisters?
7 sisters, yes.
You got beat a lot.
But you know what? Only by my mother.
Really?
They never did.
Wow.
Never did. Yeah, no, only my mother. My mother she was quick.
My dad beat everybody.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah. I got whooped once by my uncle, one of my great aunts' husband. That was it, And so this book really tells my story, and I talk about from the death of my father, all the
How
way
old?
9 years old. And so the story starts
My dad
with
was
me.
9 when his dad was killed.
Oh, wow.
He was, yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, it's such a pivotal age. And I bring the listener in on that very moment when my mother and me and my brothers are in the morgue. And my mother says to go kiss your father goodbye. Yeah.
Wow.
And so the story.
How did he die?
He died of a heart attack, 36 years old.
36?
36. It was his 3rd heart attack, yes.
Wow.
Yeah, he was an alcoholic. Obviously that doesn't, lead to that severity of heart disease per se. But the combination of that and not taking care of himself,
Why audio only?
Because Audible had seen an article that I wrote for Maria Shriver, and they said, "Oh, would you like to do a book about this?" I said, "Yeah, let's do it." So they approached me. I went to my mother and my aunt, said, "Do you guys want to do it?" And they said, "Yeah." So we did it together.
Real? So is it so like you're interviewing them, or so did you actually write the book?
Yeah, I wrote the book. I wrote
it.
the book, but when you listen to it, it's like a movie. So you hear their voices come in and out as I'm telling different parts of the story.
Oh,
so
that is cool.
In that moment when I'm talking about seeing my father, then you hear my mother's voice, you hear her point of view. And then my Aunt Sandra's voice comes in and you get her point of view. So every chapter is a new story that keeps unfolding.
Was that your idea, or was that their idea?
That was mine. Being a filmmaker, I really wanted to give a cinematic experience to the listener.
Now, did they negotiate their percentages?
They did. Yes, they did. With me. They were like, how much you gonna pay us?
I mean, you can't. They were kind of like, okay, so DeVon, let's get to the business.
Right, literally. How much money we talking? I had to give them 2 installments, I mean, it was like a thing.
You serious?
Oh, yeah, for real. I'm not lying. I am not lying, So that went really well. And then I have Kingdom Business on BET Plus. It's their #1 news show on BET Plus. It's like Empire, but set in the world of gospel music. And
Isn't Yolanda Adams in
yeah,
that?
Yolanda Adams and Soraya and Michael Beach and Michael Jai White.
Because my wife was like, is Yolanda hood?
Oh, man. She gets down in that series.
Because we all
Kmart
from Houston.
Braxton. She's in there.
Yolanda's from Houston. So.
Yeah, she is. Yeah. Man, listen, when you see her in this series, you are going to have a whole new level of appreciation for her because she's a real actress.
She's like Mary J. Blige in Power.
Listen, she's
that hard.
She's better than Mary in Power.
Wow.
Listen, I love Mary. All hail to the queen. But Yolanda Adams holds her own on that screen.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's a side of we ain't never seen.
You ain't never seen.
Okay.
Yeah, you watch that show, you say, okay, wait, Yolanda, I don't want to cross you in real life.
All right, then.
Yeah, so that's Kingdom Business on BT Plus.
All right, cool. Always good chopping up, baby.
Always
good to see you.
Thank you.
Keep handling your business, baby.
Will do. You
yes,
too.
sir.
Appreciate you.
What's up, y'all? It's Tammy Roman, and this is Black Star